So, on December 3rd, 2025, something huge happened on Ethereum, and you know what? Almost nobody noticed. It was a massive upgrade that went by the name Fusaka, and it's already starting to send these huge ripples through the entire crypto world.
Yeah, this quote right here, it just nails it. This wasn't some overhyped event blasted all over Twitter. Nope. This was a deep, fundamental upgrade, the kind that gives people who are paying attention a real edge. So let's get into what this transformation is all about.
And really, let's cut to the chase. Why should you care? Because this isn't just about fancy code or tech jargon. This update directly hits transaction fees, the actual value of ETH, and it basically reshuffles the entire competitive deck in crypto. This one goes straight to the bottom line.
Okay, so to really get why Fusaka is such a game changer, we have to talk about the problem it solved. I like to call it the digital porter problem.
Just imagine this for a second. Every single computer on the Ethereum network, every node, had to be like this one lone guy, a porter, trying to carry an entire library's worth of books on his back. Every transaction, every smart contract, all of it. As you can imagine, that created a huge bottleneck. The network was always clogged, things were slow, and boy, were the fees high.
So, how do you fix that? Well, you don't just hire more porters. You have to completely change how the library works. And that's what Fusaka did. It delivered a silent but absolutely monumental upgrade to the network.
All right, let's get specific. Fusaka is the 17th major Ethereum hard fork. The name itself is just a combination of Fulu and Osaka. But the real magic, the core technology, is something called PeerDAS, which came from proposal EIP 7594. This is the tech that finally lets our poor digital porter take a break.
Now, this might sound super complicated, but the concept is actually pretty simple. Instead of every computer needing to download the entire library, the data gets packaged into these things called blobs. And those blobs are split into tons of tiny pieces. Now, each computer only has to check a few random pieces, kind of like flipping to random pages in a book to make sure it's all there. By doing this, the whole network can mathematically prove that the entire dataset is valid and available. You know what it's like? It's just like a torrent file, where everyone holds a small piece of the puzzle.
So, what's the result of this clever new system? This is the crucial part. It wasn't a small 10% improvement. With PeerDAS, Ethereum's data capacity for its Layer 2s instantly jumped by 8 times. 8! That's just a massive leap forward, all in one go.
And look, this isn't just theory. This chart shows you the immediate, real-world impact. The moment Fusaka went live, fees on networks like Base just plummeted. They dropped by over half, from about 4 cents a transaction down to 2 cents. This makes using Ethereum so much cheaper for basically everyone.
Now, an upgrade this big doesn't just lower fees, it totally redraws the map of the crypto world. So let's break down who comes out on top and who doesn't.
The most obvious winners here are the Layer 2s. We're talking about Arbitrum, Optimism, Base, you name it. Suddenly they have this huge, super cheap data highway on Ethereum, which means they can scale like they've never been able to before. But on the other side of the coin, you have projects like Celestia. Their whole pitch was, hey, we're a cheaper place to store data than Ethereum. Well, now that Ethereum is way cheaper for data, that unique advantage starts to look a little less unique.
But really, the biggest winner of all is Ethereum itself. The whole ecosystem just got way more efficient, more attractive. And this puts a ton of pressure on its rivals. For years, other chains, think Solana, Cardano, BNB chain, their whole identity was built on being the cheaper, faster alternative to Ethereum. Well, now that Layer 2s on Ethereum offer rock-bottom fees plus Ethereum security, that main selling point is starting to disappear.
Okay, but maybe the most mind-blowing part of this whole thing is what it does to the money, to the economics of ETH. Just look at this table. Before Fusaka, Ethereum was slightly inflationary. A little more ETH was created each year than was burned from fees. But now, with all this new, cheap activity on Layer 2s, the amount of ETH getting burned is expected to explode. And that could actually flip Ethereum from an inflationary to a deflationary asset.
So what does that mean in real numbers? It means, depending on how much the network gets used, we could see the total supply of Ethereum shrink by as much as 300,000 ETH every single year. Think about that. More usage actually means less ETH in existence over time.
All right, I know that was a ton of information. We've hit the tech, the market shifts, the economics. So let's just boil it all down into the key things you really need to remember from all this.
Here are the 3 big takeaways. 1. If you're using Ethereum through a Layer 2 like Arbitrum or Base, life just got a lot cheaper. 2. The argument for ETH becoming a deflationary, ultra-sound money asset just got a whole lot stronger. And 3, that whole Ethereum killer narrative, it just took a major, major hit. And of course, just our friendly reminder, this is all for informational purposes. It is absolutely not financial advice.
So let's bring it all back to the beginning. This whole revolution happened in the quiet of the night, but its effects are getting louder every day. The herd, the rest of the market, they will eventually wake up and see the cheaper fees and the shifting power dynamics. The only question left is, are you going to be ahead of them?